and personality, which means you are that kind of person who is brought up with the difference of right and wrong. If you're brought up like that, your moral will be principled one, right? What do we mean by ego strength? That how much strong you are to resist your impulses, to resist your impulse. Maybe you are brought up with right and wrong, but you have this resist. You don't have this urge. Okay, I want to be rich. I don't care about through right reason or wrong reason. I just want rich. So it's okay if I steal some cash from the organization, steal some properties, uh, or if I take some bribes. It's okay. Don't worry about that. Locus of control is a degree to which people believe that they control their fate. Which means if something happens, they take full responsibility. Which means how much they have internal control on their own self, this 6 or 5 foot body. The second variable is structural variable, which means organizational design, goals, performance appraisal system, reward allocation. Even though you have a good moral development, you have good individual characteristics, but your reward system is very bad, then people will go for choosing unethical decisions. Why? Because you don't reward them. Your performance appraisal system is also flawed. You gave them unrealistic goals, or your organizational structure is not good. People have dual command of change. For example, if I am the employee, I have two bosses, so I'm not sure which one to give importance, which one not to give importance. If both orders came at same time, then I am confused which one I should do first and all the stuff. Right? The third one is issue intensity, which means awareness among employees that certain issues have ethical component to them, which means it consider how important these issues are for the organization and how organization want employees to behave when those issues arises. So for example, the 6 factors, like if I decide this for myself or for something else, a large number of people will be harmed. Many will say that the action is wrong. So the greater the likelihood that the action will cause harm. If I am stealing a mouse from the organization, right? What does it mean? It will harm the person who is, after my shift. And if everybody start doing that, this action is getting worse and it is wrong. Cumulatively, the probability is that the likelihood this action causes harm. The more immediate the consequences of actions will be felt. If I just steal this, what will happen? Immediately my person who is after this shift, he will point out that, okay, sir, I didn't see the mouse, somebody has taken that, or you can call something. How intensity means how much this issue is taken seriously by the organization, whether they have this kind of policies or not. Closer the person feels to the victim, and then the more concentrated the effect of actions on the victims. If all these are greater, it means greater the issue intensity to the organization. So these are here. Issue intensity, 6 factors that causing it: greatness of harm, concentration of effect, consensus of wrong, proximity to victim, probability of harm, and immediacy of consequences. Okay, so we have learned the moderators here, right? Individual characteristics, issue intensity, and structural variables. This organizational culture we already talked about on our previous chapter. What if the organizational structure is that they promote ethics? Like you need to be very supportive, you need to be, the culture is that you value people, this kind of stuff. And Hofstede models, whether your culture is individualistic or collectivistic, it's like that. So it's like that. Now, ethics in international context. Now, thing is that ethical standards are not universal. Why is that? Because in an international context, what may be moral to you for other countrymen, for other country people, that's not moral, right? Foreign Corruption Practices Act. What are these? For example, in America, if you are doing business outside America and you bribe the government officials, foreign government officials, for business purposes, so that bribery you can deduct from your gross profit, and it is tax deductible, which means when you get the EBIT, that will be lower. When you apply tax rate, you will have a lower tax in dollars. It means the American government basically give you that facility if you pay bribes to the foreign government officials to conduct a business, so that bribes are tax deductible. All right. And also in other countries, government official salaries are intentionally low. Intentionally low. Why? Because the practices are that salaries plus bribes, sorry, not that people on the seat, they are earning small salary, and also the bribes from others, bureaucrats type of stuff. All right. We also call this grease the machinery. And then we have United Nations global contract. So I just want you to pause the video and read it by yourself, these 10 principles. I'm just going to read it. So, business should support and respect protection of internationally proclaimed human rights. Principle 2, make sure there are no complicity in human rights abuses. So these are human rights standards, 4, 5, 6. And then we have environmental, and last one is Anti-Corruption Act. So that is just like that. Now, question is, even after having approved from ISO 14000 standard, having in a good country where people individual characteristics are good, right? Even then, you see people that are, or even you see the organizations that are having unethical decisions, right? So how an organization can conduct can become ethical organization? Its first prime factor is employee selection. So when you are hiring a person, you conduct pre-employment integrity test, maybe through some paperwork or so through some questions or through some interviews questions. You see that whether this person is likely to be dishonest or will be, engaging in undesirable workplace practices. So you have gone through this kind of experience. Okay, what if we hire you and this scenario happen, what will be your response, right? So these kind of questions, basically employer is testing your integrity. And maybe firms are asking reference letter from your previous employer and then calling them, okay, what is the character of this employee, and use this interview to pose ethical questions to determine the applicant's integrity. Or maybe they gave you the case scenario and ask you to solve it, and what is the best decision making for you. All right. The next is code of ethics and decision rules. You make code of ethics, a formal statements from the organizations, which is in the form of policies. It is displayed in the notice board, in everywhere. It is pasted. These called the code of ethics. So the effectiveness of code of ethics depends heavily on whether management supports them or how employees that violate the codes are treated. You're not supposed to do that. You will not do that, right? These are the code of ethics that help you to decide ethically. So while developing the code of ethics, you should model appropriate behavior and reward as well those who are acting ethically. Remember, whenever there is a policy, there is a behavior, reward is always goes side by side. You cannot maintain ethical behavior without reward. So managers should reaffirm the importance of the ethics, and there's going to be a disciplinary action who breaks them. Stakeholders will be considered in the ethics code, and the manager should communicate and reinforce the ethics code regularly. And managers should guide and deliver that. So these 5-step process, you need to develop that. Guys, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
good.
Yes.
Okay, so while developing the